Lanzazu hasnafgas ornden ua. Lanzazu hasnafgas ornden ua. Lanzazu hasnafgas ornden ua. 8:54 a.m. on Friday the 21st. Pacific Daylight Time is the solstice. And so that means that for like Hawaii and stuff, they are definitely, involving themselves in, solstice night. So Litha starts at sundown as it goes west a few time zones over. Well, Hawaii's not a few time zones over, but you know what I mean. But for like Utah and the East Coast and stuff like that, Friday night is Aerra Litha proper. So we have the solar question, because the first full day of the bright quarter being half over, so that 8th of the year being, Saturday, which of your senses is weakest? The lunar question is bird song. Now, among the Saturnal elements that we can look at here, we have Quiet Queen, Sovereign of Stars, Cooled by Night Shade, Little Veil, Veiled Being, Self-Clarification, Message of Darkness, Oak King Rules, Sacred Silence, Flight by Inner Beingness, I guess, or Outer Beingness too, if you're psychically or spiritually projecting, Secret Companions, Miscarriages, and Stillborns. So, aside from re-going over the theme, let's talk about some verses that have to do with the womb. So we have how many of these? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we have 13 verses that I've been able to find that involve themselves in the womb, and we have 228. I turned exactly to it. Walmutalakatu yadarambasna beanfuse hinathalatata inwala yahelulunan yakdunama Kala uviarhamena in kunna yumenuna belai walyamela kerewayula tunna ahakuberadena vidaleka in aradues laha walauna mithlaladina leina bilmaruve walerejale leina darajatu walau azizun hakim. And so let's remember to give the women their proper break in terms of when they have a divorce, a few months, and remember the rights of the divorced, And let's share some themes that we can see here. Beating light and warmth. Oh, light and heat. The gathering of the remnants of night, because then it starts to get brighter. And we have animals that we can look at as things to regard as examples or themes. Chipmunks, squirrels, and again in the bright quarter we have camels. We have the cloth of yellow being changed to white, which in the next turn will change to red, to blue, to orange, to black, to purple, to green, and then to yellow again. So obviously the brightest quarter of the year, camels are particularly, but it also starts the warmest quarter of the year on the northern hemisphere. Vanquished shadows, raccoons, and opossums, life of dew, bliss, uplifted light, multi-colored plants, physical training, identification, and support domains. Now, I don't say you have to go all blood and soil nationalism with that sort of stuff, but I will probably close with as much of the chant as I have, but let's see if we can finish these. Verse 6 of Surah 3, ayat 6 of Surah 3. وَالَّذِي يُصَوِّرُكُمْ فِي الْأَرْحَامِ كَيْفَ يَشَاءُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ الْعَزِيزُ الْحَكِيمُ. Now, we may look at what happens in the wombs as the things that we want. I had mentioned magical children in another sense before, but the true God sets the laws of nature how it wants. Verse 35, ayat 35 of Surah 3. إِذْ قَالَتِ امْرَأَتُ عِمْرَانَ رَبِّ إِنِّي نَذَرْتُ لَكَ مَا فِي بَطْنِي مُحَرَّرًا فَتَقَبَّلْ مِنِّي إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Now, a good thing to do, both part of the ritual practices of sex and once you know there's a pregnancy, is dedicating the child and, of course, the raising of the child as sort of a living offering unto what you worship. And Surah 6, ayat 30, ayat 139, okay. وَقَالُوا مَا فِي بُطُونِ هَٰذِهِ أَنْعَامٌ خَالِصَةٌ لِّذُكُورِهَا وَمُحَرَّمٌ عَلَىٰ أَزْوَاجِهِنَّ وَإِن يَكُن مَيْتَةً فَهُمْ فِيهِ شُرَكَاءُ سَيَجْزِيهِمْ وَصْفَهُمْ إِنَّهُ حَكِيمٌ عَلِيمٌ. And so we got to be careful of these superstitions of people inventing restrictions upon how things are born and all that other stuff. There's just too much of that going on. And Surah 6, 8, 143, I mean, it's nothing new, and there's going to be continued artificial taboos imposed upon us. Remember what I said in the white initiation in terms of removing these artificial constructs that have been imposed from the outside or contrived from the inside. Thamaniyata azwajan minadanethnaine waminalmaazethnaine kuladhakarine haramameundaine ammattamalat alayhe arhamulundaine nabeuni be'ilme in kuntum sadiqin. And the 8 pairs is a interesting thing that we have occurring in some instances of mythology of Atlantis and the cultures that made their way across Africa, the Nubian and the Dogon in between, and it sounds like it was one culture in the way that America could be said to be one culture back in the day, but that's a side note. But again, cattle superstitions, and another verse dealing with cattle superstitions, Surah 6, ayat 144. وَمِنَ الْإِبِلِ اثْنَيْنِ وَمِنَ الْبَقَرِ اثْنَيْنِ قُلْ ذَكَرَيْنِ حَرَّمَ الْأُنثَيَيْنِ أَمَّا اشْتَمَلَتْ عَلَيْهِ أَرْحَامُ الْأُنثَيَيْنِ أَمْ كُنْتُمْ شُهَدَاءَ إِذْ وَصَّاكُمُ بهذا فمن أظلم ممن افترى على الله كذبا ليضل الناس بغير علم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين. And again, what are we witnesses to? And 13:8. Remember, one of the themes, the marriage and pregnancy as a theme of the bright quarter of the year, Beltane, the season proper. We have, so the threefold male pregnating the threefold female. Of course, this refers to us. We don't have to worship various things. It's a time of youth and love. It's the season of love, by the way. 13:8. Allahu ya'lamu ma tahmilu kullu untha wa ma taghidul arhamu wa ma tandadu wa kullu shay'in inda bimiqdar. And now, in very strong and elaborate detail in every way, the true God would know what goes on in the wounds, what it is, and what stages are going on. But we only know so much. And even if we know the physical side, we're not going to go into what happens otherwise. 1678, 22, 2, 22, 5, 31, 34, 39, 6, 53, 32. I want to say, Wallahu akhrajakum min butuni ummahatikum la ta'lamuna shay'an wa ja'ala lakum sam'a wa absara wa afidata la'allakum tashkurun. And let's be thankful of how we develop further after we are in those wombs. 22:2. Yawma tarawna nadhalu murdiatan amma ardat wa tada'u kullu dhati hamlin hamlaha wa tara nasa sukara wa ma bisukara walakinna adhab Allahi shadid. And there are going to be things that are going to happen in this world that are so terrible, so very terrible, that even the mothers are going to neglect their children and I'm going to have to leave 22.5 and come back to this later. Lutzazo hasnafkas ordadua. Lutzazo hasnafkas ordadua. Lutzazo hasnafkas ordanua.